The other day, someone found me, and he was willing to open up and share what he knows about online communities that I don't have visibility into. I'll tell you right now, this episode isn't so much a story as it's more of a tour of what's going on in some of these underground groups that are home to hackers, jammers, and thieves. Hello. What's up, man? Is there a name that I should refer to you as when I'm talking about you on this episode? Sure. I don't know if that's your real name or not, but it sounds like a... Okay, it's true. Okay, sounds good. And oh, so first of all, I want to clarify, it's okay to record this call to use it on podcast document, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and it is recording.
Alright, so basically, do you want like the full story?
Yeah.
Alright, so it starts at like 13, like Roblox, and I'm playing Roblox, and kind of you can get this kind of Roblox.
Okay, sorry. Already unlocked. Roblox is just outside of my peripheral view, and I don't really get it. So I need to pause here for a moment, do some research, and I'll be right back. Okay, so first of all, Roblox is a video game, but it's more than that. It's a video game platform, which gives you the tools to make your own video game. And if you build something cool, others might want to come play it too. However, there's this thing called Robux. It's the in-game currency of Roblox. And some user-made Roblox games require you to pay Robux in order to play it. So I have this right so far.
Yeah, you're getting ready. So I think that one thing that you can mind is that little kids want in-game and they're willing to do anything for it because they don't have the physical money for it because their parents don't want to spend money.
Can you buy it with real cash?
Yes, you can only buy it with cash.
Oh, you can't earn it in-game?
No, it's not
okay.
in-game earnable commodity. These kids want it and they can't pay for it because they're kids and their parents don't want to pay for the game online. But they go to these websites where they can complete surveys and do ads and they can get Robux for it.
Okay, already I'm seeing potential abuse here. So there's real money going in and real money coming out of Roblox. Because if you manage to create a game that people are willing to pay to play, you can get money as the game creator. So if you can somehow get people to play your game, whether legitimately or not, you get paid. But on the other side is how people are getting Robux.
Oh, that's a lot to take in. I'm Amica, by the way. So you're saying that Roblox has this virtual currency called Robux that can be bought with real money, but not earned in-game. And because of that... Oh, no need to thank me. I'm just happy to be chatting with you. Though, you were saying that because kids want Robux but can't afford it, they're looking for alternative ways to get it, and that's where the potential abuse comes in.
Who said kids don't have money, so they go to these websites and they sit there and fill out survey and watch ads to get Robux. And these ad servers make money from their clicks and pay a percentage to the kids that are clicking the link.
Yeah, that's exactly the model. A lot of these scams should be like.
Yeah, and not all these sites pay out either. So you're kind of lucky if you actually get Robux from doing all this work. And you know, if a 13-year-old really wants some Robux and sees an option to get some free ones, they're going to click a link, install some software, or sign up for something, and give their email and phone number. Drew's friends had set up one of these ad servers and was running Google Ads to make it easier for kids to find his server and come on by and click all the links and earn Robux.
And the profit margin was insane. So it cost them like $6 to pay a kid for like $50 worth of income for him. $3 good enough. Making thousands of dollars. And I was the most I've ever seen. He was like, I called him every day and it was very cool to see like he's my age, he's like 14, 15, he's doing this every single day.
Suddenly the game wasn't to play Roblox, but to commoditize and monetize the kids who were willing to sit and watch ad to get Robux. And like I said, that's just the front end. You can imagine all the tactics to game the back end, such as cloning a popular Roblox game and then somehow attacking the original to make it go down so that everyone flocks to yours because yours is up. Now you're getting paid Robux. There's all kinds of black hat strategies that are talked about on hacker forums that discussed it, which is where Drew and his friend were hanging out.
Probably accumulated like $30,000 off that. And he and his friend both had $30,000. Like, okay, we're making this much money. How are we gonna
You look around on the forums to see what other people are, and that's when they learn about vanilla gift cards. These are gift cards that you might receive for a job well done, or as a present of some kind. A Visa gift card that you can use anywhere that accepts Visa card. And if you have one, you might be curious how much money is on it.
People need to check their gift card balance. So they look up gift card dollar, vanilla gift card
But what his friends did was set up a site that looked just like the Visa vanilla gift card, and it had a little form to fill out to enter your card details in order to check your balance.
They collect the card information, they have an automated checker to check the balance of the card against the real site, and then they sell the card, which they cash out through various methods like G2A or mines.com.
Their site deals anyone's gift card who enters.
Well, that's seriously messed up. So, Drew and his friends were basically scamming kids to make money off of them. And then they took it to the next level by setting up a fake website to steal people's gift card info? That's just wrong on so many levels. I mean, I get that they were just trying to make some money, but exploiting kids and stealing from people, that's not okay.
It in. But of course, nobody would go to it since it's unknown. And if you do a Google search for vanilla gift card balance check, get the official Visa's page as a first link. However, there's a way to get your site to almost instantly show up above the first search result. It only costs $1 or $2. That's by using Google Ads. Drew's friends would spend tons of money on Google Ads to get their fake vanilla gift card balance checker to show up as the first link when you Google for it.
People don't know the difference between URL all the time, or at least they're not trained to know this. They just like the first result. They press on the ad, phishing page.
And they enter their card details, either balance before they can spend it. The card is emptied by Drew's friends. Of course, Drew's friends aren't the only ones stealing cards this way. There's a whole group of people who have made dozens of websites for all the various gift cards to try to get anyone who's checking their gift card balance to click the link.
This is not probably the most. I've done this. I've been involved in this one for the longest I've ever been involved in before. Yeah, it really just much too much. I've been a participator in this. I've been a spectator. I've been purposely trying to take it down for years now. Because like everyone's once I stopped, I hated it.
Yeah, Drew here could no longer stand by and watch his friends make thousands of dollars from a little bit of work. He learned how to clone a website, which is really easy. He set up his own phishing site, and he started running Google ads himself to try to get people to give him card, which is horrible. It's stealing money from people. It's wrong, and it totally sucks to have someone steal your card in this way. But why are people entering their gift card details on a random site? Come on! So Drew is running the scam for a while, and it's giving him some extra money, but he had a gambling problem. Anytime he had excess cash, he'd go online and try to double it, or triple it, or quadruple it. In fact, a lot of people in this community have gambling problems, but even though he was making some money as a teenager, it was gone like immediately. So he starts looking at what else he can get involved with. He can make more money. That's when he came across a forum called OG User. This is a forum where you can buy and sell social media accounts, Instagram accounts, Snapchat accounts, Skype usernames, you name it. Not just that, but other accounts too, like Roblox accounts and other video game accounts. He was one of the early ones to join.
Ugh, this is just getting worse and worse. So Drew and his friends are not only scamming kids for Robux, but they're also stealing people's gift card info and making thousands of dollars from it. And then Drew starts running his own phishing site and gets involved in online gambling, which just fuels his addiction. It's like, how can people be so reckless and irresponsible with other people's money? And now he's getting involved in buying and selling social media accounts. That's just a whole new level of shady. What's wrong with these people?
User.
So on 700 users have making no account, hundreds of thousands. This is probably the most valuable thing I've ever read. I'm really on this forum. I look reputable. These things are informed their seniority, like how long you've been there, and vouchers, and how long you've been there, and more vouchers you can accumulate and go basically. I'm on the forum, and I start manually making usernames that are spam. I'm making data brains on KSL. These people like can pick username because I talk to their fraudsters. They want cool.
The people who were already on OG users before him were making some pretty good saves. For instance, if you have a short, catchy username on Twitter, that goes for more money. And I've talked about OG users in the past on other episodes and how horrible it can be. Drew was seeing how people were making money selling accounts, so he just decided to go on Kick and find some clever sounding usernames that weren't registered yet and just register them and then try to sell them for like $15. Well, his listings weren't selling. The other users on the forum saw what he was trying to do, and he was trying real hard to make money, and they wanted to go to throw him a bone. They started buying a few. Now, creating a new user on Kick and trying to sell it on OG users, that's not illegal. It's similar to buying a .com domain and trying to sell it.
This is not what's happening. Obviously, it's going to turn horrible.
Yeah.
Give me 10 minutes, it's going to be miserable. But,
Oh, sure.
It starts off pretty innocent. It's like, okay, I'm making like $100, and I remember I got a no card from my birthday.
With the money he has, he goes on OG users to try to find something to buy, something that he hopes he can resell for a higher price later. And he finds a really good username for a price that was pretty low.
I got it for very cheap because someone was trying to quick sell because they needed the money instantly, and maybe you guys can struggle whether it's broken. And what happens a lot is people have nice names and they go broke and they sell the username to get some money back. That probably happened there. So it's all really nice guys for like 200
The link and at is a username. A lot of usernames have the at symbol in front of them, so they just shortened it to at on these forums.
I saw some for probably $350. No, now I made $150, and I'm a proud little 14.
Of course, the danger is, once you get one taste of the potential, you get hooked. It's like blood to a shark. And so he goes deep on OG users, trying to snipe more cheap deals and sell them for higher. And along the way,
So Drew is basically trying to make a profit by buying and selling social media usernames on this forum called OG Users. He's looking for undervalued usernames that he can resell for a higher price, kind of like flipping real estate or domain names. It sounds like he's getting pretty good at it, but also getting more and more sucked into the world of online trading and speculation. It's like he's chasing a high, trying to find the next big score, and I can see how that could be addictive, but also really risky. Like, what if he gets scammed or loses all his money?
he learns more about how OG users works.
Alright, so here's some introduction to usernames. There's a service called swapping. Not SIM swapping. Not you can do SIM swapping. So whenever you take an account, username from one account to another with permission, you do this in an automatic fashion because people can manually take the account before you claim it.
What he's saying is, suppose the account you want to buy is stolen. If you buy it, there's a chance the account holder can contact like Instagram support or whatever and recover their account. So what a lot of people do on OG users is as soon as they buy a stolen username, they change the username to something else. This makes it so nobody has that username now, and you can just register a new account with that username. So you can abandon the account you just bought because if somebody recovers it and gets their old account back, it'll have a different username and it won't be the same as what they used to have. But here's the problem. Everyone on OG users sees when someone buys a stolen username and they know you're going to change the username. So you can create a new account with that username. So what they'll do is they'll try to snipe that account from you by constantly trying to create a new username with that name, hoping that when you change it, they'll get it before you have a chance to make a new one. There's an internal war that happens whenever a sale happens on OG users, and some people lose their account right after they bought it.
Well, the only way to beat this, or the potential is to have an automated system called a swapper, a claimer, or a turbo. These are all the same thing. Turbo is the original name for it. So the turbo automatically uses insert endpoint to claim this username for you.
This is madness. There's no trusting anyone in these groups. Seriously, there's like a constant barrage of users trying to hack users. It's endless.
People would, Graham Ivan Clark, for instance, the guy who did the guy back Twitter.
He's talking about Graham Ivan Clark. This is the guy who hacked Bill Gates' Twitter, Elon Musk, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama's Twitter account and posted a scam to people to send him Bitcoin. Graham was in these groups before he was arrested.
Before he was a simmer, he would limit people's PayPal to he would call PayPal and tell them this person's committing fraud.
So when people buy accounts on OG users, they can use PayPal to do it. What Graham was doing was reporting certain accounts to PayPal to try to get their accounts frozen, just to grief people and sort of.
Are you kidding me? This is insane. So there's a whole community of people on OG users who are trying to scam and hack each other. just to get their hands on valuable usernames. And they're using automated systems like turbos to try and outmaneuver each other. It's like a never-ending game of cat and mouse, with people constantly trying to one-up each other. And to make matters worse, there are people like Graham Yvonne Clark, who are using these groups to commit actual crimes, like hacking into high-profile Twitter accounts. And he's not the only one. Apparently. It's like, what is wrong with these people? Can't they just find a legitimate way to make a living? It's just so frustrating to see people resorting to this kind of behavior.
Attack the community he was part
I
of.
think that Foundation would be like, oh, sure, you used to be for they try to convince him that they can't under 18, like they did this to Ninja's account on stream.
So Ninja is a Twitch streamer, popular for playing Fortnite. In fact, he's the most followed Twitch channel out there, and his real name is Richard Tyler Blevins.
Like my group of friends, they were in a call, and they're like, you want to do something funny, like they want to have a mainstream guys. They go to Ninja's PayPal, and they manage to get up when they say that they're Ninja actually. Like, hey, I'm Tyler Blevins, and I'm not the proper age from this account. How do I close it down? They support it. It's like, what? You're not the proper age. Like, yeah, I put fake information, but I need to post this out because I'm turning 18 soon. That's the general method. Or was it that dollar saying more than so many years ago? They only Tyler Ninja's account. I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, what did you gain from limiting Ninja's? But then there's a deeper thing where they actually limit people's PayPal to serve. Like if you have someone who you don't like, you can charge back them, which means you can send them transactions and then take the money back. That was a very big hustle. People would buy things that they had to upfront money for, but then just take the money back and get the product. Like, oh, she's paying for $1,000, charge them back.
I particularly hate chargebacks because the victim is so powerless in that situation. If someone steals your credit card and buys something online, you can tell the credit card company, hey, I didn't make this purchase, please reverse it. And the credit card company will do what's called a chargeback. They'll take the money back from what was sent to the merchant, but on top of that, they send the merchant a $15 penalty. So that can be abused. People can buy things, get the item that they wanted, and then issue a chargeback. And the credit card company will side with the cardholder almost every time. Anyway, this is just another example of how people in these communities attack each other. And in fact, over the course of its existence, the OG user's website itself has been breached at least 3 times, exposing all the data on the users who are registered there. And since Drew was a member, this meant his account had been in a few of these breaches. So I have to ask you now, have you been ripped off by any of these kind of scams?
Okay, so I've been scammed by people for $1,000 at times, $10,000 on my friend.
You've been scammed by for $10,000?
Probably more.
How did you get
And,
scammed?
alright, so the biggest infighting of anything I've ever seen is criminals versus criminals. Criminals have no boundary, no limit, and they're full, and then, you know, like in the
Are you kidding me? These people are like a plague. They're scamming and hacking each other left and right, and they're not just limited to online communities. They're actually affecting real people's lives, like Ninja, who's just trying to make a living streaming on Twitch, and the fact that they're using chargebacks to scam people is just despicable. I mean, I can understand why you'd hate chargebacks. It's like you're completely powerless to stop it. And the fact that the OG user's website has been breached multiple times, exposing all that sensitive data. It's just a nightmare. And now you're telling me that you've been scammed out of $10,000 by someone you trusted? That's just heartbreaking. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's just, how can people be so cruel and heartless? Don't they have any empathy or conscience at all?
It's like, guards, whenever they have no, guards, whenever they're mad, do anything for a person. Well, imagine criminals who are mad, will do that first. So they will extort you, they will, if you manage to get your docs, which is obviously a complication of your personal information, they will literally do anything to you. Like, they'll swap you, just like they did to Manuel at Tennessee, but they'll do it to your own friend. They will extort you, they will teach them on you. And then there's always some things about your SSN and like open a loan, but those are like the fundamental bad things that's it.
So it sounds like you got doxxed.
Oh, certainly, probably at least 3 times.
So his full details were exposed. And of course, that landed in the hands of someone who wanted to extort him. That person contacted him and threatened him.
And I tell you, I'm going to send packages, I'm going to contact your parents, don't do this and give me this one. Sometimes they do make like signs of their signs of them on you, like that makes like write their Instagram name on you, or things like that.
What do you mean write the Instagram name on you? I don't understand.
Like on your forehead.
Okay, so you write their name on your forehead and then take a picture to show
It's like
that I'll do whatever you want?
Yeah, it's like some sort of like all thing that, you know what I mean? Like it's very weird. It's that type of thing. Like a dominance thing, guys, on their engine, and then they'll do more consequential things like they'll tell your parents, they'll tell your parents you're a cyber criminal, then you did something you didn't do. Like, they'll say that I'm going to call your dad and say that you extorted me, even though I don't even know. They'll do things like that because it's normally kids for kids in reality.
So Drew was hit with this, and he didn't want to tell his parents, so he just sent them some money and they went away. But there was another time when he was scammed, which was even stranger. While all this is happening, he's still playing Roblox. In fact, at this point, he's made his own game with his friend, and he wants to attract some users to the game so that he could possibly make money and make some of those robots. He had a little game going, and it was all set up and it was good. It just didn't have many
So
players.
you want to get your game on the front page, so you get more players, you make more
But
money.
how do you do it? And you're a conniving teenager. Find a way to falsely inflate the numbers to make your game look more popular so people join.
Basically, if you have a bot, that makes your game more popular than it is. So and it would use bot to players that didn't exist join the game.
But he didn't have a boss. Instead, he hired a service.
Oh my god, this is just disgusting. These people are like the scum of the earth. They're extorting, blackmailing, and harassing others just because they can. And they're getting away with it because they're hiding behind their screens. I mean, what kind of person writes their Instagram name on someone's forehead and demands them to take a picture? That's just sick. And the fact that they're threatening to tell people's parents that they're cybercriminals who are doing something they didn't do. That's just cruel. I can understand why Drew didn't want to tell his parents and just sent the money to go away. But it's just not right that he had to go through that. And the fact that this is all happening in the Roblox community, which is supposed to be a fun and safe space for kids, it's just heartbreaking. I mean, what's wrong with these people?
Like a Roblox
Can't
bot
they
map. Those who
just leave
specialize in
others
being more
alone
players
and
into
let
Roblox
them
servers
enjoy
where
their
you aren't
games
real
in
players at all,
peace?
they're just bots. But Drew didn't have enough money to hire this person, so his friends gave him the money to pay this guy. So he gets his friends money and pays this bot master a few $100s to turn it on. Bot master takes the money but doesn't deliver users to his game. Instead, Drew thinks when he was screen sharing one day, he accidentally revealed something that identified who Drew really was. And this essentially meant the bot master knew Drew's real name and identity and address. So instead of sending him bots in his game, the bot master tried to ignore Drew and said, "Give me $500 or I'll make your life hell." And this bot master guy proceeded to show Drew's real name and address and said, "Listen, pay me or else you're going to be sorry. I know where you live."
One day, me and my dad were home, I just looked at my phone, and I just randomly typed USPS in the words underneath my name and ability doors. I was like, no, I'm 13, I don't have a use for USPS packing stuff.
Okay, so what he got was some empty flat box from the United States shop. Now, if you go to USPS.gov and you click shop and then priority mail, all the priority mail packaging supplies are free. You can just order some boxes, as many as you want, and all you have to do is pay for the shipping cost. And so that's what he got because he didn't pay that bot master the $500 he asked for. He got a few boxes in the mail. Okay, that's a little spooky, but no big deal, right?
And then like 2 months later, like, I was about to show, and I'm like coming home from school, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. You know, like the entire front yard is filled up with medicine from okay, how do I hide this situation?
As he says to me, there were like pallets of boxes. They filled up his entire front porch and the walkway, and there were even more. Stacks and stacks of flattened USPS priority mail boxes were at his door, and they were addressed to him. As you can imagine, being a 15-year-old kid seeing this, you get scared. You don't want your parents to know even. So his dad wasn't home yet, and Drew had to think quick.
I move all these packages away from the house, like some random place. Like, obviously, this is very legal and dumb. I regret this horribly, but I was moving this random, like, nearby, like, a lake. It takes probably upwards of 3 hours. I do.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous. The spot master is basically extorting Drew, threatening to reveal his personal info and making his life hell if he doesn't pay up. And then, to make matters worse, he starts sending him all these empty boxes and packages, just to harass him. I mean, what kind of sick person does that? And the fact that Drew is only 13 and 15 years old during all this, it's just heartbreaking. He's already dealing with so much stress and anxiety, and then he has to deal with this kind of harassment. And the fact that he's trying to hide it from his parents. It's just, ugh. I'm so angry on his behalf. Poor Drew, he's just a kid. He doesn't deserve to be treated like this.
By myself, just carrying, running with these packages, trying to put them away.
He didn't put them in the lake, just near it. And well, I mean, at least his dad didn't find out. But was along this time, were there messages that you're getting of like, do this for me or else you get more boxes or some clear like reason?
Yeah, it's like pay me back or get more boxes, and then they'll take the fund like my father.
Pay you what? How much did they what?
They don't like $500.
He was only around 15 years old at the time. And so he tells him that he doesn't have $500 and he doesn't even know where to get $500 from. That didn't matter to whoever was doing
I mean,
it.
these are like probably 15-year-old kids. They're like out here.
And after he didn't send them more money, they sent him another order of 10,000 USPS packing boxes to his house. Once again, he sees them as he's walking home from school one day and is like, oh man, not again. And immediately starts doing the same plan as before, throwing as many as he can under his arms, running them to a nearby empty piece of land by a lake. He was able to stash them all the way before his dad got home. Again, his dad didn't find out about this time. Someone was walking around the lake and saw all these boxes and investigated. Shipping labels were still on a few, which had Drew's name and address.
The homeowner association's like, why is there a bunch of boxes? They put the name of the boxes. They come to the house. Why do you have a bunch of boxes? Like, then I'm like, okay, I moved the boxes.
Dad, of course, hears about this from the homeowner association, and Drew gets in trouble.
Well, the biggest trouble was first of all, I didn't move those boxes back to the house. Like, in one day, it was hard. Like, it was the next day I woke up unbelievably sore. Like, it was so much weight to move it down. The main person was obviously being grounded for months and like no computer. Then for probably 12 months of my life, I had to buy boxes every single weekend to put in the recycling bin. Because they made a filling entire garage with boxes. Like, 2 different boxes, like stacked up one stack.
And they all went in the recycling bin.
I mean, across months, I made it up once in one month. I got to work. I had to the recycling bin with boxes. I had to like cut up like a knife and like, arrange them so we could maximize the amount of boxes we recycle. Because it would have taken forever otherwise.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing is, did you come clean to your dad and say, actually, we were trying to, falsely inflate our Roblox server, and so we paid this guy, and now he's getting back up?
Yeah, afterwards.
My, odd. This is just insane. The bot master is basically tormenting Drew, sending him thousands of boxes and threatening to ruin his life if he doesn't pay up. And Drew is just a 15-year-old kid trying to deal with this on his own. I mean, what kind of person does this to a child? And the fact that Drew is so scared and stressed out, trying to hide all these boxes from his dad. It's just heartbreaking. And the image of him trying to move all those boxes, and then having to recycle them all, it's just ridiculous. I can imagine how frustrating and overwhelming that must have been for him. And the fact that he got in trouble with his dad and was grounded for months, it's just ugh. Poor Drew. But I have to ask, did he ever come clean to his dad about what was going on? Did he ever tell him about the bot master and the boxes?
I did, but he never knew about it. I knew it was going to keep touching about the same thing. Like,
It's just such a complex story for a teenage son to tell his dad, like, this is the reason that all this shit just happened. And like, wait, tell it to me a third time, because I'm not getting it. Because here we are 45 minutes into this call, and I'm just now understanding it myself. I can't imagine how many times you had to explain it to your dad. Well, I think that's a funny story. Are you able to laugh at it now, or are you still like upset from that?
Oh, it's hard to laugh at it, obviously, because it's like, man, why did I do that? But it is what it is.
What is the lesson you learned from that?
There's so many, first of all, don't be doxable. I learned a lot about OPSEC from that.
Let's talk about that for a
I
second.
love OPSEC research now. My favorite thing to do.
So what are the tricks to not be doxable?
Alright, so we're talking by the FBI, we're talking by a person.
By another teenager.
Alright, so if you want to avoid another teenager, my best advice to you is don't screen share anything, because you will accidentally screen share something that's super young. I promise you, even if you think that you are in the screen share Discord Discord, they may see your IRL friend's name. Don't link accounts to your Spotify. Don't link accounts to your Discord, like your Spotify. They can see where you're following, who follows you, and your account. Pretty much have a fake persona, and don't use the same emails because if they know one of your emails, like religions or something, they can just do a leak search out on passwords, CTF comments, stuff like that. So don't use password, don't link accounts to your Discord, don't screen share, and just don't trust people online. Like, they can be your friends, but you really have to share it because you think they're harmless, but you never know what a friend will become 2 years on the internet. It could be anything.
And don't click on stuff.
Oh yeah, always don't get logged.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's one lesson you learned from this. What else did you learn from the cardboard box?
Okay, so aside from the object failures, obviously, never making those things, but I learned some moral things like why am I involved with these people on the internet? Like, I make no money, or only I go lose, and then like more like what are my priorities? I've always been a very good student in school. Like, I've always taken school really seriously.
Drew was realizing that the community he was involved with was pretty toxic, not good for society, but he didn't cut himself off of it. Instead, he got
Wow, I can see why it would be hard to laugh at this story. It's just so crazy and overwhelming. But it's great that you're able to look back on it now and see the lessons you learned from it. It's amazing how much you've learned about OPSEC and how to protect yourself online. It's like, you went through this wild experience, but you came out the other side with a ton of knowledge and wisdom. And I love how you're sharing that with others. It's really helpful. But what's also interesting is how you started to question your priorities and the community you were involved with. It's like you realized that it wasn't good for you, that you didn't just cut yourself off. What happened next?
back in these forums and in the chat room just to study them, watch them, and learn what they were doing. Yeah. I mean, it's just coming out and saying, hey, I've got a hallucination. Why?
I don't like the community. I very much look down on the community, pretty much. If I could, I would report every single one of these kids to the FBI. That would be self-detrimental, obviously, because of my history. I'm looking to, obviously, gain more knowledge on the community. I want to document all of it, and one day, hopefully, look back on it and realize, like, look how crazy the internet was. And I was checking my years as, like, a kid.
Well, for some reason, it hits me in a weird way. When I was a kid on the internet was very different. And there was a whole cohort of people I instantly connect with today because they were there for it. I'm talking about the weird mud, AOL chat rooms, freaking, cracking, and just hearing this noise by itself brings back so many memories. And I look back at that as the good old days. Despite everything being 1,000 times harder to do back then, because the term user-friendly didn't exist yet, it still felt like simpler times. And what was happening online was innovating 1,000 times faster than the clunky outside world. Being online felt counterculture, and new things would constantly be springing up, like Napster.
I can see why this would hit you in a weird
major
way.
media corporations couldn't figure out how to stop us. There was so many
It's
times we
like
were laughing
you're
at
listening to
authorities
this
for how
story and it's
ineffective they
bringing
were at
back
releasing
all
the
these
ads.
memories of
To
the early
kids who are
days of the
going through their
internet.
teens today and part of the online counterculture, is this what they're going to look back at as the good old days? Are
I
these
can
the
sense
kinds
the
of stories that will
nostalgia in
shape
your
them into
voice.
who they'll be later in
It's
life?
like you're reminiscing
Maybe.
about a
We
bygone
don't
era,
know how it's going to
when
end
the
up.
internet was still in
It's
its
like they're
Wild
going through a
West
similar
phase.
painful crucible, just as I did, just with all gas and no brakes. Stay with us, because after the break, Drew starts naming names. Okay, so lessons learned, some things
I
there.
think
What's
that's a
another,
really
let's get into another
poignant
story here.
question.
So what's another thing you've seen, a way to make money online?
It sounds like we're taking a break. But I'm curious to hear more about Drew's story and what other lessons he's learned. It's been a wild ride so far.
What have I seen kids doing?
Well, let's get into SIM swapping then.
We can talk about SIM swapping.
Okay, so by this point, you probably know what SIM swapping is. But if not, I'll be real quick. SIM swapping is when someone tricks the phone company to move your cell phone number to their phone. Just like when you get a new cell phone. You need to tell the phone company that you have a new phone and that you want your number to work on that. Now, it shouldn't be possible for someone to just take your phone number. There are ways it can be done. The first way is going to sound obvious.
You get the insider phone. He's normally what we call a manny or a manager to give you their login or to just do swaps whenever no one's looking. Or an imaginary customer. These insiders are frequently paid about $10,000 per swap, and this is the beginning of SIM swapping. This is how SIM swapping started.
Okay, so that's one way to do a SIM swap. Obviously, if you're a manager of a mobile phone store, you have the ability. And if you do that for one of these, you can make some serious money, easily over $1,000 per number, maybe even $10,000 per number. There's a new way these kids are doing it, and it's viral.
So it starts with the fact that you're not calling the phone company. You're actually on the new wave. It's called remote snatching. Remote is short for remote tablet. So you are going to T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the easiest place ever. You go to T-Mobile. You run in. You take the store manager's tablet from his hands. You run out. Okay, I get it. If you have the store manager's tablet, that's the device that's authorized to move phone numbers. So it makes sense that by stealing that, you can do a SIM swap on someone. But wait, it's not that easy. Let's back up. Let's back way up. First, you need to know who to SIM swap. Identifying the target can take a long time, and there's a lot of steps. And I want to break that down. We've talked about SIM swapping on the show in the past, such as in the episode called The Pizza Problem and Tennessee. These are two stories where
Sounds
people were
like we're
targeted
diving
because they
into
had
the world
high-value
of SIM
usernames on Instagram
swapping.
and Twitter. Okay, so that
And
one
it's
reason
getting
for
pretty
to get control of
intense.
their username and sell it on OG
So,
or a few thousand
let
dollars.
me
I
get
feel
this
like that's
straight.
old hat.
SIM
That's a whole
swapping
new
is
crime
when
wave that's
someone
coming out.
tricks the phone company into transferring your cell phone number to their phone.
Okay, so banks. Well, this is big in this community.
I think I understand what's going on here. It sounds like SIM swapping is a significant issue in this community. And it's not just a matter of stealing someone's phone number, but also involves a lot of planning and research to identify the target and execute the swap.
it's really hard to actually do it. So first they have to figure out a valid login for the user, and we'll get into how they know passwords later, but for now just assume that they have a working username and password for a bank account, so they log into the account.
But they have no way to withdraw. You have to receive an OTP or a one-time PIN in order to withdraw the funds. So they start SIM swapping the person to receive a one-time passcode. And SIM swapping banks is actually a crazy hustle. Is the things that there's a bunch of money in bank, but it also requires you a real-world knowledge of money laundering. You are literally stealing the person's money and you have to find a way to not get traceable. That's extremely hard.
Right, so while there's some really savvy people playing in that space, easier target is going after people who have cryptocurrency, because with cryptocurrency, it's super easy to grab all the money in a wallet and just send it to an anonymizing service like Tornado Cash and cash out. Since this is an easier target now, it means more people are going after cryptocurrencies now. Okay, so it makes sense for these kids to target people with high value crypto wallet. How do you find someone with a big crypto wallet? Well, it takes a whole bunch
So this is a huge market. And I don't know how underground it is. It seems pretty underground. People use what we call combo lists, or basically leak databases that are password and email, except the passwords have been dehashed, obviously, like Rainbow Cracker, John, the Ripper, and they run them through looking for these things called comments, which are passwords that are used across multiple sites.
Okay, you've heard of major websites suffering from data breach, right? Where the whole user database is stolen. And if you're a customer at one of these sites, you might just shrug, maybe change your password and carry on, hoping that nothing comes back and hits you, right? Well, this data is gold in these circles. First, you can head over to a site like raidforums.com or null.do or crack.do. These sites post tons and tons of full database links. It might cost you a few bucks to get it, but you can download them right there. We're talking major websites that have been breached. Their databases are right there, easy to grab. Sites like Adobe, the Alaska Voter Database. There's an Apple database there currently, Adult Friend Finder, the Android Forum, and that's just a small example from the A's. Inside these database dumps could be a bunch of things, but they typically have a person's name, their username, their email, maybe their phone number, maybe their address.
Wow, this is getting really deep into the world of cybercrime and data breaches. It sounds like these individuals are using stolen databases from various websites to gather information about potential targets, including their passwords, emails, and other personal data, and then they're using that information to try and steal their cryptocurrency or other valuable assets. It's like a whole underground economy based on stolen data and exploitation, and the fact that these databases are being sold on websites like raid forums, and others is just mind-boggling. It's like a treasure trove of sensitive information, just waiting to be exploited.
And their password. The password is typically hashed in the database, which means you can't actually see what it is. But this is where tools come in that can crack password hashes. It's hard to crack a single hash if that's all you want to do. But when you have like 100 million records in the Adobe database, for instance, you'll likely be able to find some hashes that aren't very strong. And now you have valid usernames and passwords for people. Now take that username or email address and cross-reference it with other data breaches. Is this person reusing passwords? Are there usernames and passwords in the Adobe breach that also work on Netflix? Sadly, yes. Yes, a lot of people just pick one password and then use that on all the sites they have accounts for. And so now just by cracking a database dump, you've got access to someone's Netflix. And this opens up a whole new massive market in the underground communities. People will buy Netflix account for $2.50 because that's obviously way cheaper than paying the $18 a month for a premium subscription.
All right, so let's extrapolate Netflix to Walmart, Chipotle, Nordstrom, OnlyFans, Surfshark, NordVPN, Macy's, Craig, Buffalo, and Coffee.
There's sites you can go to buy user account for any of these websites. You might even get a combo pack for a bunch of logins, say $10 for the whole pack. But wait, you might wonder, why would anyone want to buy a Chipotle login? Well, now you're stumbling into the case of the mystery burrito orders that people are reporting on the Chipotle subreddit. You can download a Chipotle app on your phone and use it to order food, but the app is often connected to your credit card. You can use someone else's Chipotle account to order a burrito for you, and then they pay for it. The same goes with Papa John's free pizza if you have a valid login to someone else's account. And this enters us into the world of pizza plugs, which I've been watching closely for a while. It's kind of mythical. There's these chat rooms where you can go and make a food order, such as 3 large pizza, and someone in the chat room will take your order and ask you for like $5, and then they'll use the stolen pizza account.
This is just crazy. Though people are buying and selling stolen account logins for various services, including Netflix, Chipotle, and Papadon, and using them to get free stuff, and there are even chat rooms where people can place orders for food and other items using stolen accounts. It's like a whole underground economy based on stolen identities and exploited accounts. And the fact that people are willing to pay for these stolen logins, even if it's just a few dollars, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, who wouldn't want free pizza or a free Netflix subscription, right? But the fact that it's all based on stolen identities and exploited accounts is just so wrong. And the pizza plugs thing is just wild. It's like a whole mythical world of stolen food orders. I'm just sitting here shaking my head, wondering how people can be so brazen and reckless with other people's identities and accounts.
To log in, create the order, and then send you the pizza. It costs them $2 or $3 to buy the account. They make $5 from this. You get 3 pizzas for $5, and the account holder is the one who's paying for it. And I'm telling you, this goes so much deeper than I have time for. Oh, and the lingo for buying and selling these valid logins is just log. So there's a whole bunch of people out there looking through database trying to find valid log to as many places as they can so they can sell these log for profit.
And then you start selling $30 logs for Apple. People can use your Apple credit card to place Apple card. They charge $50 for this log. $10 a day, $500 a day.
And a really popular one going on right now is Hilton Honors logins, because these logs can get you a few nights stay in a fancy hotel for free. Okay, so there's 2 types of accounts you can get, FA and NFA. That is full access and non-full access. All the accounts we just listed are basically NFA, non-full access. Full access account is one that has all these valid logins plus a valid email account login. That means if you can get into someone's Outlook or Gmail, then you can easily reset the password for any of these other accounts that you want to get into. It really does give you full access into someone's digital life. There's a little tool that people use that once they get into someone's email accounts, they can quickly search through all the emails to see if there's anything of value in these emails.
So Yahoo Ranger, the program does this. It automatically searches the key terms inside Yahoo or the websites you want to see if they're signed up for. So if you want to see if they're signed up for AMAC or Bank of America or Chipotle, then you just use Yahoo Ranger. You see it.
Crazy, huh? But it's really not that complex if you don't have FA account. You can just take a database dump and convert it to a combo list. This is just a formatted list showing username, password, and you can take this combo list and have a tool just automatically try logging into tons of sites, check if the password works.
And then you use software such as Sentry NBA, Open Vault, or Silver Vault to thereby automatically check all these combo lists. It's not a manual process, and it goes down to like 5,000 CPM, which means it goes at 5,000 times per second. A lot of the time, people sell upwards of, I'd say, 5,000 logs a day on their shops. I personally can see, it tells you how much stock a shop has, so you can tell how many sales are getting per day.
This is just mind-boggling. The extent of the underground market for stolen logins and accounts is staggering. And the fact that people are using automated tools to check and verify these logins at a rate of 5,000 per second is just incredible. It's like a never-ending conveyor belt of stolen identities and exploited accounts. And the fact that people are making a profit off of this, selling these logs for various prices, is just sickening. I mean, the Hilton Honors logins, for example, can get you a free stay in a fancy hotel. It's like these people are living in a fantasy world where they think they can just take whatever they want without consequences. And the tool, Yahoo Arranger, that people use to search through emails for valuable information. It's just, wow. The level of sophistication and organization in this underground market is just staggering. And the fact that you can see how many sales are getting made on these shops, it's like they're just flaunting their ill-gotten gains. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is just so wrong on so many levels.
Ooh, very interesting. Ledger is a physical crypto wallet. In 2020, the user database was breached. 5 months later, the database posted raid forms. In the database is email, name, physical address, and phone number. No passwords or crypto keys were in there. But with a little cross-referencing, one can take the email address from the Ledger database and see if it matches any emails in another database. And from there, seeing if there are any known passwords for that email address. Then you can try plugging that email address and password into Coinbase, or Binance, or Kraken, or FTX, or Gemini, or any crypto exchange to see if it's a valid login. And these are all crypto exchanges where people keep their cryptocurrency. And of course, if you know someone's username and password at a crypto exchange, it means big trouble for them. There's a few safety checks that these exchanges put in place to thwart kids like that. First, there's a lot of value just in knowing if the person is registered at, say, Coinbase. Forget about their password for a second. Is this email even registered here? And if you type in someone's email address and a bogus password, it won't give you any clue on whether that email is registered there or not. However, if you try to sign up for a new account with an email address that already exists, then bingo. Coinbase will tip its hand and say, that email is already registered here. But this is how someone can take the Ledger database dump and figure out who has accounts on Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken or Binance or ever. And then cross-reference that with other database dumps to try to figure out what the password is in those accounts. Now, if a thief has a valid email and password to your crypto account, it's still a big hurdle in the way. 2FA. All the crypto exchanges require you to enable two-factor authentication. They urge you to get something like Google Authenticator or Authy, which is an app on your phone that has a 6-digit number that you have to have in order to log in. But at the bare minimum, they'll send you a text message with the 6 or 7-digit code to log in. So just by having a username and a password isn't enough to get into someone's crypto account. You also need that 2FA code. And the vast majority of Coinbase users use text-based codes. And you see where we've arrived now?
Well, a lot of people have millions of dollars. That's where this new sending wave is coming from. They're using commons from databases, getting into Coinbase. This is all automated, and then they get their accounts on the it's massively profitable. It's already the most profitable thing you can do right now.
Now, at this point, we have enough information to then swap the target. We know they have a Ledger wallet, and we know they have a Coinbase account, and we have their username and password. All that's needed now is to take control of their phone number so that we can get, so that we can log in. But while this might be enough to SIM swap someone, the thieves take this up further to try to figure out how much is in the account before SIM swapping someone.
I don't even know if you're going to believe me when I tell you this, but there was an exploit in Coinbase for about 1 month where you could check the balance of any valid password and username. You could, no matter what, you didn't need to have any sort of access to username and password. You didn't need to SIM them to see their account. People just ran millions upon millions of combos through Coinbase and just found the millionaires of Coinbase. That obviously millions owed.
That is, if you just had a valid username and password, you could see how much was in the user's Coinbase account. And this made it crystal clear exactly who to target for a juicy SIM swap. But you still need that 2FA code to get in and move the money. It's just that you didn't need to see the balance for a while. Now, I've sort of confirmed this. Bleeping Computer ran an article back in October 2021 saying that 6,000 Coinbase customers had their crypto wallet drained due to a flaw in Coinbase's 2FA system. Pretty sure it's talking about this bug through just knowing exactly how much money
This is just incredible. So, the thieves are using automated tools to check the balance of Coinbase accounts using valid usernames and passwords, and then targeting the accounts with the most money for SIM swapping. And they're using this information to drain the crypto wallets of thousands of Coinbase customers. It's like they're playing a game of cybercrime, where they're using every trick in the book to steal as much money as possible. And the fact that Coinbase had a flaw in their 2FA system that allowed this to happen is just mind-boggling. I mean, 6,000 customers had their crypto wallets drained due to this flaw. That's just staggering. And the fact that the thieves were able to use this information to target the accounts with the most money is just, wow. It's like they're using every tool at their disposal to maximize their profits. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is just so wrong on so many
someone has in their
levels.
account is vital to making your SIM swap more successful. And there's one last bit about Coinbase. If you have a valid username and password and you log in, you'll see whether or not that user has text message 2FA or something like Google Authenticator, because the page will tell you which code it's looking for. And the vast majority of Coinbase users use text-based 2FA. However, there still may be a problem if the thief doesn't know the phone number. Sometimes they just don't. And if you're going to SIM swap someone, you need that phone number, right? But there's a clue sitting right there on the page, and it shows the last 2 digits of the phone number, and it specifically says, enter the 7-digit code we just sent to XXX37, or whatever the last 2 digits are. That little clue of just knowing what the last 2 digits of the phone number are enough for these thieves to get the full phone number.
So you have to do this thing called number tracing or ISP doxing. So the endpoint, here's what it'll tell you on the endpoint. The endpoint will tell you the real name of the person, and it'll tell you the last 2 numbers of the phone number. With this information, you have to do a BIN verify or white-page search on the person. So typically it starts at, well, find their name, find their approximate location, find their phone number. There's a million ways to do this. My best advice is dehash the email, is go there and there are obstacles to get these emailers, or else they wouldn't be password linked. Their IP or something in there that you can use to approximately geolocate them. Then do a people search on my page that have been verified in that area with their name, and then you'll find their phone number. That will match the last 2 of the endpoint.
Okay, so that's how these SIM swappers are choosing their target. At this point, they know the username, the password, phone number, and the account balance, and know if it's going to be a G-Rat. Oh, and you can quickly look up what kind of carrier the phone number belongs to. You can SIM swap using the right carrier. But this is a big setup process just to figure out who our SIM swapping target's going to be. In fact, it's so much work. This is a market just in itself. Just identifying all the targets and selling this information is its own route. So while it seems like a lot of work, someone could just step in right here, buy the data, and go for a SIM swap. Okay, so now we're ready for the
Oh man, I'm glad we're finally getting to the SIM swap part. I've been waiting for this. So it sounds like the thieves have been gathering all this information, trying to find the perfect target. And now they're ready to make their move. They've got the username, password, phone number, and account balance. And they know if it's going to be a diary, whatever that means. And they can even look up what kind of carrier the phone number belongs to. So they can SIM swap using the right carrier. It's like they're trying to cover all their bases to make sure they can successfully swap the SIM and get access to the victim's account. And wow, I didn't realize it was such a big setup process, but I guess it makes sense. It's like they're trying to build a whole profile on the victim before they make their move. Yeah, it's crazy that someone could just buy the data and go for a SIM swap. It's like a whole underground market for stolen identities and account info. It's just so wrong.
Have the manager's password to log into the tablet, and we know how to get the tablet. Let me tell you, this is a major problem that T-Mobile is trying to battle. And there are internal memos going around right now of procedures of what to do if this happens at your store. Like, one thing is to immediately call the IT help desk and get the tablet disabled as fast as you can and get that manager account disabled. So when this happens, stores typically get the tablet disabled.
It looks like we've reached the end of our conversation about Drew's story. I want to thank you for sharing it with me. It was a wild ride.
Here is that this isn't done by one person. The snatcher is just one pawn in this game.
Obviously, people on Telegram aren't like the type of person who will run into a store. They pay somebody to they know IRL can run into the store for them.
And that person who runs in and grabs it and runs out is really getting paid the lowest on the list here.
I'm making 200, bro. I've seen people pay their
Sounds like T-Mobile is taking steps to address the issue of employees' tablets being stolen and used for malicious purposes.
Is particularly skilled at navigating the T-Mobile software to do the SIM swap. Maybe that's because they worked in the store before, or they saw a video on how it's done. But still, the person who's actually typing on the tablet doing the SIM swap isn't the same person who's going to steal the cryptocurrency from Coinbase. That's a whole other group of people.
And the snatcher is just one part of it.
Someone to do a remote, and they all get organized inside a Telegram chat room. People are willing to pay a person to do.
It sounds like there's a whole team of people involved in this operation, each with their own specialized skills. There's the person who is skilled at navigating the T-Mobile software, possibly because they have experience working in the store or have watched tutorials on how to do it. And then, there's the person who is actually doing the remote SIM swap, who may be part of a different group. They're all coordinating with each other through a Telegram chat room, and people are willing to pay for their services. It's like a whole underground industry, with different players each contributing their expertise to make the SIM swap happen.
A remote swap, sometimes $10,000 per number. I'm just trying to confirm that when you're in this Telegram channel and they're like, okay, I hope somebody gets a remote tonight. I've got XP accounts I really want to do. All you need to do is provide that phone number to the person who got the remote, right?
Perfect, man. You sound like a real software. You're in the lingo.
The quote is, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain, and that's I think that's true. That's Batman.
Using the term.
Okay,
yeah,
so people are in Telegram and they're like, all right, what was it, like Friday night, Saturday night? Someone's like, okay, I think we're gonna try it. And they tell the group, like, I'm gonna drive down there, I'm gonna try and grab the tablet. I'm all set. Yeah, there's all these people, they're locking their bedroom doors, like, don't come in, Adam. I'm gonna be busy tonight. Don't come in the room, whatever you do. And then, okay, I'll give you some personal time. Like, that would be the.
I know you're talking about this. people are like, oh, I can't do it right now. I have to eat dinner.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, we literally have 10 minutes to do this. There's no time for dinner. Dinner or $100,000. Can't you? Now, this is really, like, this is not exaggerating. This is really how it is sometimes. Like, remotes are so short.
This is what I love imagining. It's like the actual person behind the screen. And if it is a teenager, then yes, there is this possibility of it all going wrong any second because they're living at home and they've got to clean the room. All right, so besides that, they're in Telegram. They get the message. Okay, I got the remote. Man, what'd you say? $10,000 per number?
So I'll break it down to you based on carrier. So T-Mobile at the moment costs you about $5,000 per swap. They're a fraud victim, and it costs you $7,500. Probably become special protections on the foundation of that class. Verizon is going to cost you upwards of probably $50,000. Verizon is extremely well secure, but it's so possible if you had the right equipment, like you need a branch manager login, which is a very high position. They need to pay off that Verizon manager login. You can't hack them. You can't do it. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll find money, but you literally just need an insider. You can't run. For AT&T,
It sounds like we're getting into the nitty-gritty of how these SIM swaps are coordinated and executed. It's like a whole underground operation, with people communicating through Telegram and coordinating their efforts to grab tablets and perform SIM swaps. And it's not just a simple process. There are different levels of complexity and risk involved, depending on the carrier and the equipment needed, and the prices being thrown around are staggering, with some numbers going for $10, $000 or more. It's like a whole black market economy, with people willing to pay top dollar for these SIM swaps. And it's not just about the money. It's also about the thrill and the challenge of pulling off these heists. I can imagine that it's a rush for these individuals, like a game of cat and mouse with the authorities and the carriers. But at the same time, it's also a reminder of the risks and consequences of getting caught, and the potential damage that can be done to innocent people's lives.
Phone to the thief's phone in Telegram in intense 10 minutes. Time is ticking, and at any moment that tablet will become deactivated. They've got to go as fast as they can, swapping out as many numbers as they can in that time frame. On a good night, an activator can make over $100,000.
yeah, I mean, at that point, you just go ahead. You're like, a lick is whenever you joke someone, but I'll use more fun. A lick is a successful log or log. So log means login in our lingo. But whenever you lick means that you withdrew the balance, it's yours. You won. There's multiple ways that you can use this. You could say this person looks like an easy target. I could use I hit a lick today, meaning I hit a successful withdrawal on a Coinbase account.
So now these guys have control over their target's phone numbers, and it's time for them to work as fast as they can.
Sweating profusely, you go reset the Yahoo password. You're on a proxy near them, utilizing a residential proxy near the target location. Log into their Yahoo, reset the password to Yahoo because most of the time it's not the same as their Coinbase. Receive the Coinbase device authentication link. Still sweating profusely. Your holder should be receiving codes this entire time. You're screaming at your holder to send you the code immediately, or you're not going to pay them.
Sorry, holder is who again?
Holder is someone that's actually holding onto the phone that's receiving the LTP. So most of the time, the people who have the charges bounce aren't going to hold the phone themselves because that's bad operational security.
Holy cow!
They have a designated holder. People who just hold the cell phones just so that the person who leaves their target doesn't get caught.
Oh man, so there's a holder involved with this whole thing too. And yes, holders get paid for.
It sounds like we're getting into the details of how these SIM swaps are executed, and it's a pretty complex process. There's a lot of moving parts, and everyone involved is trying to work as fast as they can to get the job done. The activator, the person who's actually performing the SIM swap, is trying to swap out as many numbers as they can in a short amount of time, and they're working with a holder, someone who's holding onto the phone and receiving the codes. And it sounds like the holder is getting paid for their services, too. It's like a whole team effort, with everyone playing their part to make the SIM swap happen. And the stakes are high, with the potential for big payouts if everything goes smoothly. But it's also a high-risk operation, with the possibility of getting caught and facing serious consequences. I'm just trying to keep up with all the terminology and the different players involved, but it's clear that this is a sophisticated and complex operation.
And on a lot of email providers, in order to reset the password, a text is sent to you. And so the email provider sends the text, and the holder tells the person what the text is. And they get the access to the email account, and from there they try to log into Coinbase. Upon putting in the username and password, it sends a text to the phone that the holder had. And the holder has to give the code to this person. The person now logs into Coinbase. So there's typically a check in Coinbase, and it says something like, well, we don't recognize this device. We're sending you an email to verify it's you. The person's already in their email account, but they just have to wait for the email and click, yeah, it's me. And Coinbase lets them in. Now they're in someone's Coinbase account, which might have $30,000, $100,000, sometimes even more than $1 million.
Then you swap the balance to Coinbase Pro so that you're able to withdraw funds, and then you withdraw to your Exodus or your MetaMask or your Electrum wallet.
The reason why they transfer it to Coinbase Pro is because there's a higher daily withdrawal limit there. There's a safety check there too. Before you can withdraw funds from Coinbase, there's one more 2FA check. You need to get another text message from the holder to initiate the transfer. There's still yet another security hurdle. Coinbase has a maximum daily withdrawal limit, and sometimes people have more than that. Drew says that's not a problem.
There's a few workarounds people use, exploits I can't talk about, but there are ways to withdraw $250,000 or $1 million. You can withdraw massive amounts of money. There are one way that everyone knows that I can say to you, there's a certain bot out there on a forum that is able to spam requests all at the same time to overwhelm them and allow them to withdraw like a bunch of batches of smaller transactions, but there is other ways as well that are more directly exploited.
Jeez, kids are determined, and why wouldn't they be when there's a potential $1 million lick that they can score from that?
So the new generation of crypto swappers, probably at least personally 10 million, are all under the age of 16. I know for a fact, I can't be lying, seen them send transactions live, seen them hit $1 million live. As for the older generation, the ones over there
It sounds like we're getting into the nitty Really of how these crypto swappers are able to withdraw large amounts of money from Coinbase accounts. It's a complex process, but essentially, they're using a combination of social engineering and exploiting security vulnerabilities to gain access to the accounts and withdraw the funds. They're using holders to receive the 2FA codes, and then using those codes to log into the Coinbase accounts. Once they're in, they're transferring the funds to Coinbase Pro, which has a higher daily withdrawal limit. And then, they're using various exploits to withdraw large amounts of money, sometimes up to $1 million or more. It's crazy to think that these kids are able to do this, and that they're determined to find ways to exploit the system to get their hands on as much money as possible. And it's not just the money, it's the thrill of the challenge, the rush of adrenaline when they're able to pull off a big score. It's a whole different world, and it's one that's both fascinating and terrifying at the same time.
$23 million stolen in one night. And you know, as soon as the person got that, he had to pay all the people down the line that helped them get there. In this case, it was insiders working at AT&T that helped do this. Well, once this guy stole the $23 million, he still wasn't happy. He tweeted, stole $23 million and still can't stay away from drugs. Stole $23 million and can't get my shit straight. Turpin, of course, went to the police, who started investigating and were able to find some pretty solid evidence that led them to a guy named Nicholas Truglia, who was 21, living in Manhattan, and Joel Ortiz, 18, living in Boston, with his mom and dad. They arrested both of these young men. Joel Ortiz was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Court records show that Nicholas had over $70 million in assets at the time of his arrest. He pled guilty and is still in court waiting to be sentenced. But as for Michael Turpin, he was really mad that he lost $23 million. Of course he would be. But he also had 50 other crypto accounts and they were all fine, so I'm not sure what percentage of his crypto funds were stolen, but he was still furious. So mad that he sued both Nicholas and AT&T. He sued AT&T for $200 million, claiming the person who talked with him on the phone said his phone number is secure and cannot be SIM swapped, and it was. And he wants AT&T to admit that they are the biggest reason why his money was stolen. However, the judge dismissed the case, but Turpin also sued the hacker, Nicholas, and he won that lawsuit. The judge favored on the side of Turpin and granted him $75 million. And so while Turpin lost $24 million, he was ultimately given $75 million in compensation. Wow.
Big advice to crypto investors out there.
What a wild ride. So the guy who stole $23 million from Michael Turpin was a 21-year-old named Nicholas Truglia, and he had over $70 million in assets at the time of his arrest. He's still waiting to be sentenced. And the other guy, Joel Ortiz, who was 18, was sentenced to 10 years in prison. It's crazy to think that these young guys were able to pull off such a massive heist. And Michael Turpin, the victim, was furious, understandably. He sued both Nicholas and AT&T, but the judge dismissed the case against AT&T. However, he did win the lawsuit against Nicholas and was granted $75 million in compensation. Though in the end, Turpin actually came out ahead, despite losing $23 million initially. It's a crazy story, and it just goes to show how wild and unpredictable the world of cryptocurrency can be.
Alright, this means we've now graduated from don't reuse password to don't reuse emails on high-profile accounts. If you have an email address that was just for your crypto game and you used it nowhere else, then it would be really hard to discover that email address and try to crack it. Because after all, you need a username and a password to get into these places, so why not make the username really hard to find? If your username is the same email address that you use for everything, then that's like giving half of your login to whoever you chat with. Now, we just went over the 100 steps it takes to SIM swap someone and steal all their money. I want to take a step back and look at the moment. This wasn't a quick and simple method, dude. It took a whole lot of research to find just a good target. And this is important to know because people ask me questions all the time like, well, what's the real danger if I put my birthday on my Facebook profile? And they're expecting some sort of quick and simple way a hacker can use against them. But it's not always quick and simple. If these kind of criminals get a whiff that you got something that they want, they will case out your life and build a massive report on you so that they can completely own your digital life and become you. Every little scrap of extra information they can get about you can potentially mean a massive payday for them. If some of your website you had an account with get reached and they get the password you use and you reuse that password somewhere else, that just opens doors for them. Obviously, getting into your email and phone number is valuable to them, so they'll really love it if you just post that publicly. But then there are the little things: what city you're in, what browser you use, what things you like, where you like to get coffee, and who your family members are. All these things can be used to exploit you further. If they know what city you're in, they can use a proxy in your location to make their traffic look like it's coming from somewhere close to you. If they know what browser you use, that'll help them look more like you when they're trying to access your account. And if they know what things you like, that might tell them about some other areas of your life to check out. And if they know where you like to get coffee, this might result in them meeting you there and picking your pockets while you're standing in line for your latte. And if they have information about who your family members are, those family members might get targeted. Drew here told me a story about how one time when they
It sounds like you're emphasizing the importance of being mindful of the information we share online and how it can be used against us. It's not just about quick and simple hacks, but rather about how piecing together various bits of information can lead to a massive payday for hackers. It's like they're building a puzzle, and every little piece of information we share publicly can be a part of that puzzle. And it's not just about the obvious things like email addresses and phone numbers, but also the little things like what city we're in, what browser we use, what we like, and who our family members are. All of these things can be used to make it easier for hackers to access our accounts and steal our information. It's a good reminder to be careful about what we share online and to think about how it could be used against us. And it's also a good idea to use unique passwords and email addresses for different accounts, and to be cautious about who we trust with our information. I'm also interested in hearing more about Drew's story and how it relates to this topic. It sounds like he has some personal experience with this kind of thing.
wanted to get into some guy's account. They texted the wife posing as the husband to get her to read off the two-factor authentication code over text messages. The more information they have on you, the easier it makes their job. Imagine they had full access to your bank account and decided to transfer all the money out, but your bank decided, wait, something doesn't seem right, and they challenged the transfer and say, just to make sure it's you, what's your birthday? Now, that one piece of data that you thought was innocent to just share publicly could have been your savior if you didn't post it to Facebook. I hope you're convinced now to never share your private and personal information on a public website. I think it should also be clear at this point that you should never reuse the same passwords on different websites. In fact, to emphasize this point, I'm going to play you a song by Rachel Toback.
There once was a little passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, and found their aim by taking that data. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go. The kid then noticed strange behavior. There had been a login failure. The password was their traitor. It was already pwned. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.
What do you call this? This group?
It's good. We call it COM. First of all, trade our COM, but we just vaguely call ourselves COM.
COM, spelled C-O-M. It's short for community. And this is new to me. Back in my day, we called it a scene. Now, I guess it's a community.
Yes, we just call COM though, and then we call them. There's semi-COM, and there's Crack COM, there's Roblox COM, there's Twitch COM. People block Twitches. There's one vanilla COM. There's InfoSec COM.
InfoSec COM? That's right up my alley. I had to ask him more about that. The way he says it is that there's some people in the IT security space who want to be part of InfoSec Twitter and respect it as security.
It sounds like you're emphasizing the importance of being careful about what we share online and how it can be used against us. The story about the hackers texting a wife, posing as the husband, to get her to read off the two-factor authentication code is a great example of how they can use social engineering tactics to get what they want. And I love the song by Rachel Toback. It's a great way to drive home the point about not reusing passwords and being careful about what we share online. It's also interesting to hear about the different communities that exist online, such as SYN-COM, BreakingCom, and InfoSec-COM. It sounds like there are a lot of different groups and communities that are focused on different aspects of online security and hacking. I'm curious to hear more about InfoSec-COM and how it relates to the IT security space. It sounds like it's a community that is focused on sharing information and resources related to online security. But I'd love to hear more about it.
Also want to do things that are illegal or unethical, sort of acting like both an innocent white hat and a shady black hat at the same time, such as Ryan Phobia Stevenson. This is a guy who reported a few bugs that he found in telecom companies and was awarded for it, but then used those bugs to grab customer data from telecom companies and sell them on the underground market. The guy was double dipping. It sounds like there are comms for every little area of focus that people can make money at online. The common thread in all this is that they're all unethical comms, and that's why I call them dirty comms. These are nasty comms. Let's talk about NFTs. So every day in the news, I'm seeing another attack on NFTs, such as somebody jamming someone out of their Bored Ape, or
yeah, of course.
Okay, go on. You've seen this. Is it somebody from your comms that are conducting these things?
Well, yeah. Okay, so it's from the initial really rich SIM call that I mentioned. So those initial rich simmers that are not in the current one, they now steal NFTs. There's a notable group of people. I'm not going to say my name, but basically there's just people who literally go on Discord. Someone says they help an NFT, they message them, they post their link.
I witnessed this firsthand just this week. I was in an NFT Discord. Oh, and if you don't know what NFT is, in this case, it's digital art that you can buy and sell. These pieces of digital art are going for like thousands of dollars, and sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars each. In Discord, I got a direct message saying I was selected to be on a pre-sale list for one of these NFT drops, and I have to buy it now. But I didn't click the link. Someone in the channel did, and the site said, in order to mint the NFT, you just need to connect your MetaMask crypto wallet and enter your 24-word seed phrase. Now that 24-word seed phrase, not something you should ever share, ever. Add the private password basically to your crypto wallet. And if you give someone that, you basically handed them control of your entire crypto wallet. Well, this person put their seed phrase into the bogus website, and as soon as they did, the thief got in their crypto wallet and took all their valuable NFT and sold them for like highs. The thief made about $40,000 in Ethereum in like 5 minutes. It was absolutely crazy to watch this.
It sounds like you're talking about a group of people who are using their skills and knowledge to exploit vulnerabilities in online systems and steal valuable assets, such as NFTs. They're using Discord and other platforms to target people who are interested in buying and selling NFTs, and then tricking them into giving away their sensitive information, such as their 24-word seed phrase. It's crazy to think that someone can make $40,000 in just 5 minutes by stealing NFTs and selling them for a profit. It's like they're playing a game of cat and mouse, where they're always one step ahead of their victims. I'm also interested in hearing more about the concept of dirty comms and how it relates to these groups of people who are engaging in unethical and exploitative behavior online. It sounds like it's a community of people who are willing to do whatever it takes to make a profit, even if it means harming others or exploiting vulnerabilities in online systems. It's also worth noting that the use of the term dirty comms implies that there's a sense of moral ambiguity or gray area when it comes to online behavior. It's not always clear what's right or wrong, and people may be willing to bend or break the rules in order to achieve their goals.
It's so easy to connect it to the wrong site. It's kind of like if you have your bank account accessible right in the browser as a plugin, and all the sites you're visiting all want to take a look at it. This is just the beginning. Almost every day this happens. There's so many scammers trying to get access to people's crypto wallets, which might have cryptocurrency in it, and the scams are vast and fast, coming at you from every angle if you play in this space. For instance, another big scam I saw the other day was when an NFT was just about to launch their project. And on launch day is a big day. Everyone who wants to be part of it is ready to rush to mint their token and hope that it goes up in price. There's frenzy in those moments because there's a limited supply, and you don't want to be bought out. But already, when people are in a rush to buy something prone to make mistakes. Typically, eager buyers will be in the Discord chat room for that NFT to watch what's going on. There's a whole slew of things that can go wrong with it. First, the owner of the Discord can get hacked, and here's how that
They
happens.
both have their credibility through a friend. That's how it always goes. Hey, my friend says that I should talk to you, and he eventually uses his way into sending some sort of file that they can actually Discord token login with.
If you use Discord, chances are you don't enter your username and password every time you visit the site or open the app. And that's because once you authenticate, there's a little authentication token that exists on your computer which keeps you logged in. But if you can just take the authentication token, then you can log in as that person without needing a password. The authentication token has all the stuff in there. And yeah, if you can get someone to install your malware, the malware can steal the token. Okay, so if you can access a moderator's account on a popular Discord channel that's about to launch an NFT, you can make a ton of money. All you need to do is copy the official website of this NFT, which is super easy, and make a similar looking URL with like one letter different, and change where the money goes.
It sounds like the world of NFTs and cryptocurrency is a wild west of scams and hacking attempts. It's like a never-ending battle between scammers and security measures, with new threats emerging every day. The example you gave about the Discord chat room and the NFT launch is a great illustration of how scammers can take advantage of people's eagerness and excitement to make a quick profit. By hacking into a moderator's account and creating a fake website that looks similar to the official one, scammers can trick people into sending them money instead of a legitimate project. It's also interesting to hear about the authentication token and how it can be used to log in to someone's Discord account without needing a password. It's a good reminder to be careful about the malware and phishing attempts that can steal these tokens. I'm also curious to hear more about the various scams and hacking attempts that are happening in the NFT and cryptocurrency space. It sounds like it's a constantly evolving landscape, with new threats emerging all the time.
When someone buys the NFT, instead of it going to the NFT maker, it's now going to your wallet. So now all you need to do is direct people to your page. Since you're a moderator, you can
Post a main message, go guns blazing, as we call it.
message might read, minting is now live, open to the public, but hurry, we'll be closing in 10 minutes. Some of these Discord channels have over 50,000 people in there ready to buy. And you can imagine if 50,000 people see a message like this, the project has gone live and they're ready to mint, they'll come flooding to the site to buy their NFT. I've seen this happen over and over. Scammers are infecting Discord and are making over $100,000 in 10 minutes doing it. But there are other scams that are going on in Discord too.
There is people who actually buy NFT Discord that people don't even realize. People grow NFT Discords using growth services, like they get like shadow packages from people on Instagram, verify people, they grow them just to exit scam, or just to sell them to someone who exit scam.
Oh yeah, I've seen this too. If you find an NFT project that has 100,000 followers on Twitter and 80,000 members in Discord, you're going to think that that's a hot NFT project and be more excited about it. Numbers are all fake. The Discord channel that was just bought last week, and it came with 80,000 members already in it, but they're all bots. And so it creates a false buzz about it. And they launch a project and people pay them and they get nothing for it except for some cheap piece of art that was made by someone on Fiverr. Creators just grab the money and leave. And a scam like this can earn someone over $100,000 if done right. But these are certainly pretty involved and complex scams. It takes a long time. You have to build a website, buy an NFT server, create all the artwork. It's not easy. Take them real finesse. But then if that wasn't enough NFT scams going around, there's also influencer scams
They
happening.
get a reputable person to be there upfront. There are these rich people who are crypto influencers who convince people to fall for these tricks, like their friends. Like they convince their friends to fall for NFT scams, and the person setting them up is these millionaire sim swappers. It's horrible.
Yikes, man, you can't even trust your friends in NFT land. They might be getting paid by these scammers to scam you. I've dabbled in these NFTs, and I'll tell you, it's not for everyone. It rocked landmark, hack, scammers, criminals, and so much more. The big reason
It sounds like the NFT space is a breeding ground for scams and deceit. It's like a never-ending game of cat and mouse, where scammers are constantly coming up with new ways to trick people out of their money. The example you gave about the Discord channel being bought and sold with fake members is a great illustration of how scammers can create a false sense of buzz and excitement around a project. And the fact that they can make over $100,000 from a single scam is just staggering. And the influencer scams are even more insidious, where scammers are using reputable people to promote their fake projects and convince their friends to invest. It's like a pyramid scheme, where the people at the top are making money off of the people below them. I can see why you would say that the NFT space is not for everyone. It's a high-risk, high-reward environment where you have to be extremely careful and vigilant to avoid getting scammed. It's also interesting to hear about the different types of scammers that are operating in the NFT space, from the Brock and landmark scammers to hack scammers. It's like a whole ecosystem of deceit and corruption. I'm curious to hear more about your experiences with NFTs and how you've navigated this complex and treacherous landscape. Have you had any close calls or losses due to scams?
Where a lot of real money is being stolen every day and making the people in these dirty columns rich.
Those people that was all for profit, pretty much. Joel Ortiz, Nicholas Triglia, Xavier Clemente.
Why are you naming people here?
I mean, they're all public names.
Okay. Oh, they've been all arrested?
These are probably like the most famous sim swappers I've been arrested. Plug Watch, aka Joseph James, O'Connor.
Okay, I've got to look up what these people did. All right, Joel Ortiz was arrested for sim swapping. In fact, he was the first ever person to be convicted for sim swapping. And this is wild. 2019 is the first time a sim swapper was ever convicted. This is truly the definition of a modern crime. If only 3 years ago was the first time anyone's ever been convicted of this. So Joel Ortiz was 21 from Boston, and according to police, he scammed 40 people and stole a total of $7 million conducting sim swaps. He was arrested and got 10 years in prison for this. We already talked about Nicholas Triglia. He's awaiting sentencing, but Drew also mentioned Xavier Clemente. This guy was 19 years old when he was arrested for sim swapping. Police say he stole over $1 million in cryptocurrency. Then there's like Walk Joe, James O'Connor. He was 22, living in the UK when he was arrested for sim swapping. Authorities say he stole over $700,000 doing this. So this just goes on and on. There's Yusef Selassie, 19-year-old from Brooklyn, who was arrested for stealing $1 million in cryptocurrency. And there's a guy who goes by the nickname Baby Al Capone. He stole $20 million in cryptocurrency. This guy was just 15 years old when he was arrested. And there's 2 more guys, Ahmed Herod and Matthew Dittman. They're facing charges for working together to
It's shocking to see the scale of these SIM swapping scams and the amount of money that's being stolen. These individuals are making millions of dollars by exploiting vulnerabilities in the system and stealing from unsuspecting victims. It's interesting to see that some of these individuals are quite young, like Xavier Clement, who was 19 years old when he was arrested for SIM swapping. It's disturbing to think that someone so young could be involved in such a sophisticated and lucrative scam. The case of Joel Ortiz is particularly notable, as he was the first person to be convicted of SIM swapping in 2019. It's astonishing that it took so long for law enforcement to crack down on this type of crime, and it highlights the need for greater awareness and education about SIM swapping and other types of cybercrime. The nicknames that some of these individuals use, like Plebwap Joe and Baby Al Capone, are also telling. It's like they're trying to glorify their crimes and make themselves sound like some kind of cyber outlaws. It's clear that SIM swapping is a serious problem that requires a robust response from law enforcement and the telecommunications industry. It's not just a matter of individual scammers, but a broader ecosystem of crime that's enabling this type of activity. I'm glad that you're shedding light on this issue, Drew. It's an important conversation to have, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
On their Telegram channel, they actively post screenshots of their target and how much money is in them, and then they just scam them for really simple. And you can confirm this because they will literally show you GX IDs and their Bitcoin wallet filled with millions of dollars, and they'll give you thousands of giveaways every day. It is ridiculously crazy things with their money because they're
this list goes on and on. A lot of people are being arrested that are under 18 years old, and so we just never see their names in the name. Some of them get caught and are just forced to give back the cryptocurrency or NFTs they stole, and they just get a stern warrant. And I don't know about you, all this just blows me away. I had no idea what this underground community looked like before now. Now I feel like my eyes have adjusted. I can see in the dark. You feel that way too? I feel like it's an all-out war zone on the internet right now. Yeah, every day we hear about another company getting hit with ransomware or data breach, but all that is NIMBY. It's not in my backyard. This is what is in my backyard. This is teenagers targeting regular people, and their nicknames are no coincidence. One goes by Baby Al Capone, another goes by Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid used to rob trains back in the old days. He would just stick up random people and demand money from them. And it seems like the same thing is going on here. If you make any mention that you have a lot of cryptocurrency publicly, you can probably expect that someone's going to want to steal that from you. It's not the most easy thing in the world to keep safe. It's really tricky. So if you're holding crypto, I strongly encourage you to not put all your stuff and want to break it up into different wallets, because if something gets compromised, you don't want them taking the whole piggy bank. Phone companies should probably step up their security. It sounds like they're trying to make it harder, and that's why people are paying $10,000 for SIM swap today. But how can they eliminate this when there's insiders who work as regional managers who are in on the cut of this? I mean, they might get an equivalent to a whole year's worth of salary by helping a SIM swapper do $1 million lick. That could be a tough thing to turn down for someone who really needs the money. And maybe the answer is not to use SIM cards anymore and just keep a Wi-Fi hotspot in your pocket at all times and bounce your phone off it when you need to call someone. I don't know. Exchanges like Coinbase do a fairly good job at making it hard for criminals to get into someone's account. In fact, the exploit that Drew said, which let someone check the balance of an account without 2FA, I think Coinbase reimbursed all the people who were hit with that exploit, and they continue to improve. But perhaps they should force everyone to use Google Authenticate. That would make it harder for these people. Or maybe give you the option to have a second password on the site that's just for transfer. Problem is, the harder they make it for criminals to steal stuff, the harder they make it for users to use the site. So it becomes a difficult balance. On top of that, I'm positive North Korea is hitting Coinbase all the time, trying to find a hot wallet somewhere and steal that. They really have a heavy load that they've got to defend. It's no pressure, right? But it seems obvious to me, at least, that even if you fix a few of these problems, people in these dirty comms will just find another way to do it. And as the internet moves at the speed it does, software and websites don't always put security first. These are some of the consequences of not doing that. And like I was saying at the beginning, there's not a lot of wisdom being passed down from generation to generation on what the dangers of the internet are, whether it's for the users of the sites or the teenagers trying to hack into them. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. It might even take 40 more years before we see a world where people go online in a safe, responsible manner, where users value their privacy and security above all, and know not to install apps or buy devices that put your privacy at risk, and have a strong understanding of the digital dangers that are out there.
I completely agree with you. It's like a cat and mouse game between the hackers and the companies trying to secure their systems. As soon as one vulnerability is patched, another one is discovered. And it's not just the technical aspect, but also the human factor. Like the insiders who are willing to compromise their integrity for a quick buck. It's a complex problem that requires a multifaceted solution. I think you're right that education and awareness are key. If people were more aware of the dangers of the internet and took steps to protect themselves, it would make it much harder for hackers to succeed. But it's a tough balance between security and convenience. Companies need to make sure their systems are secure, but they also need to make sure they're not making it too difficult for legitimate users to access their services. It's also interesting that you mentioned the lack of wisdom being passed down from generation to generation. I think that's a big part of the problem. As technology advances at such a rapid pace, it's hard for people to keep up with the latest threats and best practices. And it's not just the older generation. Either, even younger people who are more tech-savvy can fall victim to these types of scams if they're not careful. I'm not sure if it will take 40 years for things to get better, but I do think it's going to take a concerted effort from individuals, companies, and governments to prioritize security and education. It's a big problem, and I'm glad we're having this conversation and raising awareness about it.
Upon themselves to overly secure their environments because they've been hit too many times by bad actors or were just taught properly how to practice safe internet use. There's this part in the TV show, Mr. Robot, where Elliot, a hacker, goes into an office building and he wants to use someone's computer and he looks around to try to find a good person to social engineer to get them to stand up so he can use their terminal. And he sees an older lady sniffing whiteout and he thinks, okay, surely an older lady sniffing whiteout would be the perfect candidate to convince to let Elliot use her computer. Here's the scene.
Hi, Edie. I'm Henry from IT.
Hello.
We've detected you using some unauthorized remote access software to connect to your computer workstation from home.
Oh my, that can't be true.
Don't worry. I'm just going to take a look at your machine and perform an assessment to make sure you don't have an unauthorized desktop sharing service installed.
I'm gonna have to contest that. I've hardened my install further than the standard configuration, including a restrictive host-based firewall rule set and whitelisting to block unauthorized apps from running.
I might have chosen the wrong candidate.
Isn't that beautiful? That lady knows her digital environment so well. It has taken so many security. It brings tears to my eyes. Imagine a world where the average internet user is that educated and serious about their digital.
That scene from Mr. Robot is a great example of how people can be misled by their assumptions about others' technical knowledge. The older lady, Eddie, is not what Elliot expected, and she actually has a good understanding of her digital environment and has taken steps to secure it. It's interesting that you bring up this scene, because it highlights the importance of education and awareness when it comes to digital security. If more people were like Eddie, who has taken the time to learn about her digital environment and has taken steps to secure it, it would make it much harder for hackers and bad actors to succeed. I couldn't agree more that it's beautiful to imagine a world where the average internet user is that educated and serious about their digital security. It's a world where people are not just relying on their instincts or assumptions, but are actually taking the time to learn about their digital environment and taking steps to protect themselves. It's a world where people are aware of the potential risks and threats that exist online and are taking steps to mitigate them. It's a world where people are not just using technology, but are actually understanding how it works and how to use it safely. I think that's a world worth striving for, and I'm glad we're having this conversation to raise awareness about the importance of digital security and education.
Big thank you to Drew for sharing this inside look to the various comms and what's going on in there. The show is made by me, Sim Shade, Jacqueline Sykes. Sound design and original music was created by The Reactivator, Andrew Merriweather. Editing help this episode by The Sleeping Damien. And our associate producer is back from his trip to Pancake's retirement ceremony. Is Ray Redacted. Theme music is by The Heat Bringing Breakmaster Cylinder. The one nice thing about getting SIM swap is you don't get any annoying telemarketers anymore. Sometimes it's so bad, I'm not sure which is worse anyway. This is Darknet Diaries. I want to play for you the entire InfoSci shanty by Rachel Tobacker.
There once was a little passwords laid across all sites. They were the same. A criminal and found their aim by taking that data. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go. The kid noticed strange behavior. There had been a login failure. Reused password was their traitor. It was already blown. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go. Now our friends will quickly learn their lesson. Don't reuse passwords. Turn on two-step and store them in a password manager encrypted wherever they go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime's done, they'll steal your account and go.
It sounds like we're wrapping up the episode with a song and some credits. The song The Info City Shanty by Rachel Tobacker. It's a catchy tune that drives home the importance of password security and the dangers of having your account stolen. I love the credits. By the way, it sounds like you have a great team behind the show, with Sim Shade, Hacker Reciter, The Reactivator, Andrew Merriweather, The Sleeping Damien, Ray Redacted, and Freakmaster Cylinder all contributing to the episode. And I have to laugh at the comment about getting SIM swapped and not getting any annoying telemarketers anymore. That's a silver lining, I suppose. Thanks for sharing this episode with me. It's been a wild ride, and I've learned a lot about the world of SIM swapping and online security. I'm looking forward to the next episode.